If your significant other tries to crush your dreams, just leave them. They're not worth it. So today I'm going to be ranking the songs from Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. Now you're probably wondering why I'm doing it this way instead of my usual anniversary review. I decided to do it this way because I already saw a lot of channels put out videos, and some of them were already the history-based videos, the way I usually do it. So for example, I recommend checking out Live Listen Erased. He did a video on this album, and it goes into the entire history, and he did a really good job on that. So for that reason, I'm going to do this a little differently. I wanted to take a different approach. Also, it's something I've wanted to do on my channel for a while. I haven't done a tracklist ranking in a while, and this is one of my favorite double albums. I think this is one of the best double albums of all time. I put this one and Pink Floyd's The Wall and Beatles' White Album like up there as the best double albums of all time. I've been listening to Led Zeppelin since I was 10 years old, so I've been listening to this band for over 40 years, and I think it's a great album. There's no filler, there's nothing to skip. It's just start to finish, really great album. And on top of that, when I get to my number one, is going to be my favorite Led Zeppelin song of all time. But before we get into the ranking, it's going to be a quick background. It's going to be stuff that's relevant. This video is celebrating its 50th anniversary. It was released on February 24th, 1975. And I know I'm a few days late, but I had a busy schedule. I have a lot of videos coming out. And one thing about this album is that a lot of the songs were previously unreleased songs, and they were meant for other albums, such as Led Zeppelin 3, Led Zeppelin 4, and Houses of the Holy. In fact, House of the Holy is actually a title track that appears on this album. So I'm going to be ranking all 15 songs. I'm going to go in chronological order, but then I'll place them on the board once I get to that, and you can see that on my screen here. So with that being said, let me get started. The opening track is Custard Pie. I thought it was a good choice to kick off the album. It's a hard rock song. It shows off everything this band does well. Has a pretty cool guitar playing with Jimmy Page, and a good example of that mid-70s hard rock sound. Also, John Paul Jones plays some pretty cool keyboards in this, has some pretty funky sounds, and some pretty cool harmonica on this one. It's a really good song, so this one comes in at number 9. Next is the Rover. I like this one a lot. This is one of the more heavy metal sounding tracks. I really like Jimmy Page's guitar tone. It's a very guitar-centric type of song. Probably has some of Jimmy's best playing, but it's also a pretty cool bass guitar sound in it as well. And I like the drumming. Anything that John Bonham does is really great. And the guitar solo is awesome. I like this track a lot, and this one comes in at number 2. Next is In a Time I'm Dying, and this is one of their blues songs. It's a long track. It's 11 minutes long, and then it's their longest song they had ever recorded. It's one of their semi-cover songs. It's based on a traditional gospel song that's been already recorded by many other artists. For example, Jesus Make Up My Dying Bed by Blind Willie Johnson. Then there's Bob Dylan's In My Time of Dying and John Sebastian's Well, Well, Well. It's kind of a combination of those songs. But despite this, I like it. I don't usually like the longer blues tracks as much as the harder rockers, but I think this one is one of the better ones. I also like how they change the rhythm throughout the song. So for example, it goes into more of a hard rock sound after about 3.5 minutes. So the song doesn't really drag like so many other longer tracks of Led Zeppelin. I'm thinking of the track T for One from Presence, which is a song I never really liked that much. But this has some great playing by Jimmy Page. He plays some slide guitar. That's always a good thing. This one comes in at number 4. Next is Houses of the Holy. This was meant to be on the album of the same name. I like the song. It's one of the harder rockers. It also has this groovy sound, and I think it would have actually fit better on the album of the same name. John Bonham plays some cowbell on this track, so it's not a bad thing. I also like the bass guitar on this one, and I like the higher range vocals by Robert Plant in the second half of the song. The song is also 4 minutes long. It's a good length for this type of track. This one comes in at number 5. If you like this video, check out my cat and subscribe to the channel. I also have memberships. Thanks for watching. It's the first track on the album where they do something a little different. It's a very funky type of song, and it's apparent in the keyboard playing by John Paul Jones. So he plays a type of keyboard called the clavinet. Lyrics were inspired by blues musician Robert Johnson's 1936 song, Terraplane Blues, which is not the first time they were inspired by Robert Johnson. It's also inspired by Stevie Wonder's Superstition. So if you notice, those two songs are kind of similar. But I like their interpretation of it. Jimmy Page has some of his personality, And it's not too bad. I'm not ranking it very high, but this one comes in at number 13. Next is probably the most popular song on the album, called Kashmir. I've heard the song played so many times over the years, I never get bored of it. I think the first time I heard the song was when I went to see the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That movie came out in 1982, and I was only 11 years old when I saw it. I don't know why my parents thought I was old enough to see that movie, but it was the 80s. There's a scene where this one character, Mike Damone, is giving his nerdy friend Mark Ratner tips on getting girls. And he says to Mark, when it comes to making out, put on side one of Led Zeppelin 4. But they cut to the next scene, and Mark's riding in his car with his date, Stacey Hamilton, and they're listening to Kashmir. So at the time, I didn't understand. But later, when I was older, I noticed he was listening to Physical Graffiti. And I remember talking to another YouTuber who's a big Led Zeppelin fan. He said his theory was that Mark Ratner was such a nerd, he put on the wrong album. But I did some research. It's actually because of licensing. They didn't get the licensing for the correct song. So that's why it's this way. There's also a cover on the Godzilla soundtrack from 1998. It's a collaboration between P. Diddy and Jimmy Page. Now, back then, I didn't know why those two were friends. Now I know. I'm not going to say why. But anyway, I like the song. This one comes in at number 3. Next is In the Light. This is one of their trippy psychedelic songs. I like this one a lot. I think John Paul Jones really shines on this track. No pun intended. Because there are some cool psychedelic keyboard sounds on the song. Another one that's over 8 minutes long. It doesn't feel long. And there's a lot going on. John Paul Jones has some keyboard solos. Jimmy Page has cool guitar playing. And there are these trippy interludes in the middle of the song. This one comes in at number 6. Next is Bron-Y-Aur. This is a short 2-minute instrumental. I like it. It doesn't hold all to the rest of the song, so I'm not going to say much about it. Something needs to come in at the bottom, so I'm going to put this one at the bottom just because it's a short kind of instrumental track. So this is at number 15. Next is Down by the Seaside. The song is not too bad. It's probably one of the more radio-friendly songs. Has some pretty cool guitar playing by Jimmy Page. I like Robert Plant's vocals. But I'm not going to rank this one very high, but I still like it. On a positive note, I like the way the song takes a complete shift and changes the rhythm in the middle of the song. That's my favorite part, but this one is only going to come in at number 12. Next is 10 Years Gone. This is an awesome song. There's a pretty cool story behind it because it's based on a relationship that Robert Plant had when he was younger. I believe it was right when he was getting into Led Zeppelin, and he's seeing this woman. He didn't like the fact that she was spending a lot of time away because he was focusing on his music, and she gave him this ultimatum. She said, you need to choose your band or choose me. Robert Plant chose the music, so because of that, based on the fact that Robert Plant didn't simp, the world was given one of the greatest bands of all time, which is Led Zeppelin. I did a short on this, which was very popular, and in it I said, if your significant other tries to crush your dreams, just leave them. They're not worth it. And I thought that was a little controversial. Some people didn't like what I said, but I said what I said. This is also my number 1 song. Not only that, this is my favorite Led Zeppelin song of all time. So for that reason, this one goes in number 1. Next is Night Flight. The song is not too bad. I'm not going to rank it very high, but I still like it. It's a pretty cool rock song. I don't have much more to say about it. It's a song mostly written by John Paul Jones. It's about somebody who is evading the draft in the Vietnam War. Other than that, it's a fun song. It's pretty catchy. I don't have much else to say about it. This one comes in at number 11. Next is the Wanton Song. This track is pretty good. It's another one of their hard rock songs. I like the guitar playing by Jimmy Page. It's a catchy song. It has a nice rhythm. Another one, I'm not going to rank it very high, but still, it's a pretty decent song. This one comes in at number 14. Next is Boogie with Stu. It's a good song because it's one of those retro-sounding blues tracks. I like John Bonham's drumming on this. Now, compared to the other songs, it's going to be a little lower. Kind of reminded me of something that would be on the Into the Outdoor album for some reason, but I thought it would go good paired with that song Hot Dog. But interestingly, it was recorded back in 1971, but it's just okay. And by the way, Stu is Ian Stewart, the Rolling Stones road manager and piano player. But this one is coming in at number 8, which is not that low. It's kind of right in the middle. As you can see, there are 2 more spots on the board. There are 2 more songs. Next song is Black Country Woman. It's an acoustic blues track. The second Led Zeppelin song that begins with the opening line, Hey Hey Mama. I like this one a lot. It was originally intended for House of the Holy, although I thought it would fit better on Led Zeppelin 3. But anyway, I like it a lot. It's probably one of my favorite acoustic songs by the band, and I don't know why it's considered an extra track. I think it's really good. It has cool harmonica playing. Then after this is Sick Again. Pretty cool hard rock song. Has a very memorable guitar riff. And the song's about groupies. It's a song that they couldn't get away with today. The music's not too bad, and the way I'm going to rank it is going to be as follows. So Black Country Woman is at number 7, and Sick Again is at number 10. So that is all. Comment below. Give me your ranking of all 15 songs. If you want to play along, put it in the comments. Check out the video I did of In Through the Outdoor, which is celebrating an anniversary. I think it was last year. Thanks for watching. Please give the video a like. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.